The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, their guests, callers, and advisors on Freedom March are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Freedom March is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirely without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Freedom March is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group, copyright 2025. All rights are reserved.
The march to freedom is long, and it must continue to evolve.
Led by God and grounded in Scripture.
March to freedom must be righteous, with a focus on accountability and sustainability to ensure that we leave no man behind.
Have the courage to do the right thing and get yourself a red Bible.
As we unleash the minds, you can be confident that the revolution is alive, and we will continue to document it.
This is Freedom March.
This is Freedom March. Hello, welcome to Freedom March. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Friday. I say like I do every single Friday, I want you all to go and enjoy yourselves. I want you all to go into the spaces that you call your own, into your local community watering holes. Don't forget, if it's Friday, the boys got paid and the girls are outside and they're looking pretty. And I want you to have as many of them as possible. So go into your spaces, have fun and frolic, wet up the bar with the good time, do all of the things that your mind can imagine, saunter about if you will, sashay about if you'd like. Why? Because you only get to live once. And after that, you'll be dead. And so, I want you to spend every minute living, because no one ever tells us what happens after you die. Well, they kind of do tell us. But you don't worry about that till you're dead. You are alive today, and the Bible says that you ought to do the things that make you merry and make your heart feel good, and do it all. And then, when the accounting time comes, but today, Friday, you make sure that you have yourself what the Flintstones would refer to as a yabba dabba do time. But I ask as always that you ensure that in all of your active hooliganism, in all of the goings on of your Friday, man, for God's sake, be sure that all of your behavior doesn't do anything that will add to or take away from this population this weekend. And once you do that, I don't suspect that you will have any issues out of me. That is the advice we give you over here on Freedom March every Friday. Why? Because we love you. And we want you to have yourself a wonderful time. So, it's Friday. You heard it. Do the things you enjoy. Do all of the things that you like. Make sure that those things, however, do not add to or take away from the population. And you're going to be okay with me. Bradley, how do you feel about that wonderful advice?
Every Friday you do the same thing, but I'm not going to agree with that.
Bradley,
I'd rather be positive with the
say that you should do what your heart desire.
Yes, it says that, you know. But you got to emphasize the ending part of all this. And it is this. Whatever you do, remember, at the end of it all, judgment is coming.
We could worry about that when it's judgment time, Bradley.
I would rather steer them the right direction first so that they don't necessarily have to worry about judgment.
Oh, boy.
Rather than steering them into sin and all kind of stuff happen. You end up having baby for the wrong person, then you may end up getting killed.
Who
all
is the
this
right
kind
person?
of stuff, Bring home the wrong baby.
Listen, now that's a big deal. Okay, and listen, and also while we at it, because I hear some things that happen in the news, we've been following it throughout the week. Man, do me a favor this weekend as well, right? Make sure your actions don't add to or take away from the population. But also make sure you don't take you from the population, all right? Let's see if we can work on that this weekend. Hey, Bradley, how you like that idea?
Okay.
Yeah. So you don't kill nobody. Make sure nobody don't kill you. But more important than all of that, you don't kill yourself.
Okay.
Yeah? Fantastic.
Indeed.
And if you do those things, I tell you, I absolutely guarantee you it'll be a wonderful weekend. Shanton Knowles will be pleased with you. His Majesty will be pleased with you. And anyway, we're going to the break. We'll be right back on Freedom March.
This is Freedom March.
Fill up box for all $30.
The new KFC Fill-Up Box, serving 6 juicy pieces of chicken, 4 buttery biscuits, crispy fries to share, and 12 premium original recipe KFC nuggets, all packed into one crave-worthy box. So dig in and do whatever the crunch you want with the KFC Fill-Up Box. Only at KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Hello, welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you so much for staying with us through the break. I'm Levan Miller. You're listening to us on 103.5 The Beat FM. Channel 224, that's cable. Channel 112, that's on Flow. And of course, ILTV Studios, where by now you should be following us. The spiritual advisor, you know this already, extraordinary and plenipotentiary, the spiritual advisor for the whole Bahamas, I'm told.
Potentiary.
Bradley Roll is with us, and if Bradley Roll is here, then that must mean
Yeah, we got scripture.
Holy scripture.
Oh, yeah.
Bradley.
Make no mistake, and today I'm probably going to upset some Seventh-day Adventists, but hey, it is what it is. Let the chips fall where they may. Matthew, the 12th chapter. We're going to read 7 short verses, but it's packed with some information that has not been deciphered properly. But let's look at it. All right? Where Jesus is actually called the Lord of the Sabbath. And if you're Lord of something, it means you're over that thing. And it's not over you. And that's where the Seventh-day Adventists fail. So look at this. It says, as that time Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath, right? His disciples were hungry and began to pick some heads of grain and eat them. When the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, look, your disciples are doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath. He answered, haven't you read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God, and he and his companions ate the consecrated bread, which is not lawful for them to do, but only for the priests. Or haven't you read in the law that the priests on the Sabbath duty in the temple desecrate the Sabbath and yet are innocent. I tell you that someone greater than the temple is here. And if you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would have not condemned the innocent. Matthew 12.
Matthew 12.
1 through 7.
1 through 7.
So obviously, when Jesus came on the scene, there was this paradigm shift in the way the Jews were doing things from a religious perspective.
Sure.
At the time, they were not willing to accept it. And whenever Jesus did certain things, they were always willing to condemn him. But he would actually respond to them in a way that would get them to think. Another passage I guess I'll read another day. But this here shows you that they had restrictions on the Sabbath.
Yeah.
That were not necessarily wrong. They thought these things were condemned and were evil. But then Jesus came right along and showed them how, yeah, this is what David did when he and his men entered the temple. The bread was consecrated and it was only for the priests. But at the time, they were hungry.
Yeah.
So what do?
They eat the bread.
Oh, yeah. You see, so
But
what
you
is
can't
needful?
go wrong for eating
So what is
bread.
needful is lawful. Not only that, at one point, he told them, he healed this man that had a shriveled hand, and the healing was done on the Sabbath. And they questioned him. It's like, why do you break the Sabbath by healing this man's hand? So he draws this illustration right there. Listen, if you got 100 sheep,
And one is lost.
and one falls into a pit on the Sabbath, what do you intend to do?
Go look for him.
Yeah, they said,
On
well, all right. So he said, well, listen, don't you think a man is more important than the sheep? This man needs to be healed. So why can I not heal this man on the Sabbath and yet still everything be great? Rather than that, you think if you have 100 sheep, you wouldn't leave the one sheep in the pit. Now, what value is a man's life over a sheep? Do you think a sheep has more value than a man's life or the man or the sheep?
Depending if we asking the sheep.
Ah, boy, that's deep.
Did we ask the sheep?
But no doubt these people were shepherd,
Okay.
and the shepherd cares for the sheep.
Yes.
So no doubt, if a sheep falls into the pit,
Yeah.
and you have 100 of them,
Yeah.
you can leave the 99. You're going to look for the one because that one is more important.
But you know, Bradley,
to you.
you and I, we talk about this oftentimes. I tell you, I've read the Bible several times. Well, not several times. That is a lie. I've read the Bible 1 3/4 of a time. How does that sound?
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Good. So the first time
Well,
I
that might
read,
be enough.
yeah, well, I think I read it 1 3/4 more time than most Christians.
People, yeah.
Yeah. So the first time I read it, it was for understanding of the language, for understanding of the words as they appear in the Bible. And then the second time I went back and I tried to have some translational understanding. You know the difference between the two, right? Like how when you consider the man at the pool of Bethesda, there's the Greek translation for that word, which is gyro, which I argue has nothing to do with his physical limbs.
So when you say translation, what do you mean? You talk.
So like when I look at
oh, you
the
talk
translational understanding. So
of
again,
the word or the translation?
let me give you the example.
Okay.
When you look at the word arise in Corinthians, is that where Jesus heals the man at the pool of Bethesda? Where's the pool of Bethesda? Is that
Right in the
Corinthians?
temple, but I think it may be Mark.
Mark,
Book of
or wherever it is.
Yeah.
I'm not good with where they are in the Bible. I can tell you what the thing says. What you would notice that word there in Greek is a word called gyro, which has nothing to do with physical ligaments. It is a gathering of one's self. That has to be. You know, I've always argued this with you that this boy wasn't crippled.
So
This-
what was he arising from, though?
from his state of pitifulness.
But Jesus asked him to pick up his bed.
Yes.
So obviously he had some mobility issues if he has to pick
I
up
never
his
said he
bed.
didn't have a mobility issue. Okay, do you remember when Jesus healed the lame man or the man who couldn't walk, and the Bible says, and immediately his limbs began to gather strength. The Bible ain't said that, but the man at the pool of Bethesda.
He had an issue.
The man,
Because the reason why I'm telling
yeah,
you.
he had an issue.
Right.
Something
You
was
recognize
wrong
it,
with
right?
his head.
No. His biggest issue was that when Jesus looked at him,
Yeah.
Jesus asked this man
Will thou be made whole?
if he wanted to be healed.
Yeah, will thou be made
All
whole?
right, so the issue there is that he was not looking at Jesus for the healing, you know.
Right.
Remember now, there was this tradition
Mm-hmm.
where this angel would come down, stir this water, and then those who
Those who
wanted
brought
to,
in would be
the
healed.
recipients of healing
Correct.
would jump in
Right.
at the minute of the
Right,
stirring.
right.
Now, apparently he couldn't do that because he himself says, listen, I don't have anyone to help me.
Right.
Now, what was his problem that he couldn't get in?
I can tell you,
He
his
had
mind. His mind. And the
His
reason-
mind?
Yes, and let me tell you why it was his mind, right? Because if the Bible if the miracle of his walking had anything to do with his actual leg, just like it mentioned the man's leg and the other healing and miracle, it would mention his leg. There is no mention of anything miraculous happening to his leg.
Yeah.
Jesus say, get up. Guess what he do? Get up. And take this old bed out of here. And guess what he do?
Because Jesus had
Move
the
the
power.
bed.
Yeah, Jesus had the power to heal this man because it also explained when Jesus told this man to pick up your bed and walk.
Yeah.
It explained to you that this man had this problem for more than 30
And the
years.
Bible does, and you know what the Bible calls this
So what does that
problem?
mean?
An
It doesn't say a
infirmity.
mind problem, right?
No, he has an infirmity. That don't
What's an infirmity?
That don't mean cripple. If he was crippled,
the Greek word there does refer to some mobility issue.
a mobility issue,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
cripple. There's a difference between cripple
But I don't.
and a mobility
But
issue.
I don't think it was mine. But we
I'm
did,
telling
we did
you,
that. We did that.
So the translational understanding that I get when I read that passage is that the Greek word there for arise is a Greek word
Well,
called
just mean to
egaro.
get up, yeah. Gather
It
yourself
means to
together.
gather
get up.
yourself.
And get up, yeah.
You don't gather yourself to stand up.
But his problem.
You know when you have to gather yourself? When you realize soft hands then leave and the light gone off and the people call you and tell you 2 months behind on the rent and you stop bathing because you can't figure your life out and you say to yourself, I've got to get out of this place. That's what it means to a gyro. Whenever, you look at this baby, especially the people who make it to the pandemic and you say, the more I look at this baby, the more this baby look to me like the neighbor baby. And the woman tell you, Bradley, the more the baby look like the neighbor baby, the more I think you're right. And you say to yourself, I've got to figure out how to not let this thing overtake me. You follow me? You have to not be overtaken by the thing. That is what it means to collect or to gather yourself.
Yeah, but based on the context, based on what was going on, based on the words that Jesus said to this man, based on his reaction to the words of Jesus, we can easily tell that he had an issue.
Yes.
And that issue was that he could not do for himself what others did for those who were
How
near
did he
him
discover that?
to get in. The Bible says he was that way for
The
a long
man
time.
said, that's all the Bible says.
He was that way for a
and
very
the Bible
long
didn't say
time.
He had an infirmity for the long time. The Bible says Jesus looked at this man and could tell this boy ain't moved in a long time. You know what that mean? All the concrete around him start to look like him. You realize that?
Leman, I don't accept that, honestly. There's nothing in the passage that suggests that this man is lazy or he
Not lazy.
Or had a mind problem.
Not lazy. And by mind problem, you're thinking about some psychosis, something. No. There are people that are crippled by pitifulness. You ever see people who you tell them, say, man,
I don't know anybody that
you're in the business of landscaping, yeah? Which means people want their young son to come work for you all the time, yes? And then you tell them, well, it's summer, I can get a boy a job. So you tell the boy come Monday. Monday come, no little Pookie. You call, hey, what's happening? I thought we should see little Pookie today. He ain't come? No, he ain't come. Little Pookie, why you ain't going to Bradley? I was going to Bradley. And then when I was going to Bradley, you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, that's a different. That's a different case. Yeah, and I understand that. That's totally different.
It is the same. If the Greek word egeiro in that text is what it is, then that is exactly what that means.
Well, the command was for him to get up.
Yes.
Obviously, there was something physically wrong because Jesus asked him to pick up your bed. Now, we need to ask ourselves this question: what restricted him to the bed?
Picking up the bed was symbolic.
He was always lying on it.
But picking up and the only reason
So-
because we going far from your topic, right?
Yeah, because I wanted to get back to that.
Jesus found no difficulty with breaking the Sabbath rule, because that was also on the Sabbath.
Yeah, okay.
You follow me?
Well, he just came and he just basically showed how the restrictions that they had basically were not necessary, and he started to relax those rules.
But we have to also
because he
remember
was
now,
Lord of the Sabbath.
Jesus come 400 years, or well, the New Testament anyway, comes what 300 or 400 years after the Old Testament. So naturally,
there was between Malachi and Matthew.
yeah, it's 400
There is
years.
a 400-year silence.
Yeah. It's not better when you
the
say it.
last prophecy. No, it's
Okay, just making sure. 400 years. So,
Yeah.
my granddaddy turned 100, right? This week, right? So for those of you going into the weekend, 001 is what I'm still doing. I can't tell you how to be led, right, of the spirit, even if it's wholesale wines and spirit. 001. But you know what my granddaddy always says to us? He doesn't like to leave his house. Do you know why? Because in 100 years, Nassau is no longer what he knows.
Yeah, it's different.
He says all the time, when I was a boy, we couldn't imagine life but on Wolf Road. If you told my granddaddy you was going to Carmichael Road 40 or 50 years ago, he said, going in the back of Carmichael Road to do what? There was
It's
no
just
Carmichael
bush,
Road. The entire New Providence or Nassau was East Hill Street to, I think, Mackey Street, and from Bay Street to Wolf. There was no Robinson Road.
Yeah.
Your mind today cannot fathom living on a stretch of land that small. But that was the norm of the time.
For
And
him,
so
yeah.
I think Jesus was very belligerent with this Sabbath thing because the time was so far removed away from it. And in that regard, that is why I do not wholly buy into the Seventh-day Adventists and their needing to keep Saturday holy. The other reason I don't buy into it is because the same people who tell me, don't call them on their Sabbath, will blow up my phone till it run hot, calling me on mine.
Right, but certainly you can
So
understand.
since they ain't care nothing but my Sabbath, boy,
What do
you better hope I don't need nothing.
Hold on, what do you mean by your Sabbath? You have a Sabbath?
I'm talking about the day I keep holy,
Which day is that?
Sunday.
You know Sunday is not the Sabbath, right?
That's my holy day,
Okay.
right?
Okay, all right.
But when they have their holy
Alright.
day, you can't call them. When I have my holy day, man, they just call me left and right and center. I don't understand this.
Well, okay.
So all I'm saying is,
We'll look at that too.
all I'm saying is, I don't know if with the evolution of the world and time, etc., 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 I mean, God got the war in Ukraine to worry about. God have the children in the Gaza Strip who people throwing bomb over the head every 2 minutes, right? I ain't sure if God mad about, because you realize the difference between Saturday and Sunday is 1 minute. You know that, right?
Well, okay.
The difference between any 2 days is 1 minute. At 11:59 is Saturday. At 12:01 is Sunday.
But-
you trying to tell me that the disparity in this 1 minute is enough to make God upset? That sound like that kind of God is a little too
But
temperamental. for me.
realistically, for the Jews, though, it's a sunset that makes a difference. Because
Okay, so what you want to do?
they
You want to give
count
God
the-
6 hours?
They count the days from sunset
to sunset?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
So it's a sunset that makes a difference for the
Fine.
Jews, you know.
Fine. That's another thing I have a problem with because sunset is when I like to start my day.
Well, that's fine, and that's based on the Bible. That's when the day began.
Yeah.
The day began in the evening.
Right.
The evening, the morning, first day. So
Right.
the day
So if I
actually
sleep
begins
till
in the
10
evening.
o'clock in the morning and I lazy.
Well, no.
Because my morning
No,
starts at 6
yeah,
p.m.
yeah, from sunset. Once, like, if you look at,
You see how when you try to fit these things into modern
yeah, it's not
Western
difficult.
culture, it
it's
just
not,
doesn't line up.
Well, it isn't difficult. It's just a matter of accepting it. Like, say, for instance, a very popular food store, someplace on East Street.
Yeah.
If you try to go
You
there,
can't go there till 7 p.m. on Saturday.
right?
I
You know,
understand.
you have to wait till sundown to go to them.
Yeah.
And so you understand the adjustment
Here's
you
the
have to
question
make.
I want to
you
ask
see?
them. Here's the question I want to ask them. What is God doing at sunset that he wasn't doing while the sun was up? God going to take a break and drink a
Well,
lemonade.
I guess they're saying he wasn't
See,
waking.
these things, they label
They don't
my
matter
mind.
anymore. They don't
Yeah,
matter.
they label-
Yes, they don't matter anymore. I agree with
Gaza
that.
is on fire, beloved. I don't think, right? Now, me and God ain't talk about this. He might talk to you, I know. Gaza on fire. You think God care about 6 p.m. Sunday and 6 p.m. Saturday?
If it was a law, I'm sure he would care, but it's no longer a law, so I guess he doesn't.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, it is what it might be straight off our topic.
You know-
Maybe tomorrow.
You know why? This is why I like the part of the Bible that says that for we are saved by grace.
Grace. True faith, though.
Well, well, else I can use to get it. I ain't got nothing else to get it with.
Okay.
Because I accept that I am a wretched sinner.
Indeed.
Yeah, I like the people who got back door key cut for heaven, you know. Every morning I show up, I say, God, the grace you got for Bradley, he living in heaven. He need that. Give it to me. Because I need it. Anyway, Bradley.
I need it myself.
We got to go to the break. Anyway,
Yes,
don't
it is.
move. We're going to the break. This is Freedom March. I'm Levan Miller. We'll be right back after the break. This is Freedom March. This is Freedom March. Hello, welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you so much for staying with us through the break. Levan Miller, we're on 103.5 The Beat FM. Channel 224, that's cable. Channel 112, that's Flow. And of course, ILTV Studios, where by now, on Facebook, you should be following us. So you heard me and Bradley in the banter about Jesus and the miracles and all that other stuff. But since the miracles are dialing down a little bit, we have to figure out some other things that will help people that have issues get past their issues and navigate them in a way that, is effective and sustainable. And of course, in keeping with our effort to raise breast cancer awareness and the avenues of treatment or the possibilities of the things that are available and the options that can be considered by those people who may find themselves actually wrestling the beast of breast cancer, I thought, who else to talk to than my friends from over at the NHI. And so today we have the managing director of the NHI, Christy Butler, and we have the medical director, Dr. Hannah from NHI, who is with us. And firstly, let me start off by saying, welcome to Freedom March.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So, Christy, NHI, it's been in the news forever and ever and ever. It's something that has been worked on for 30 years. But it is a living, breathing organism now, or a living, breathing creature now.
Correct.
Where is NHI, and how long has it been around, and what exactly is the state of NHI presently?
Okay, that's a great question. So the first part about NHI being conceptual for a long time is correct. Almost 40 years. As a part of nation building, it was recognized that we needed to have equitable access to healthcare services. And so there have been many iterations of NHI, and it's been a journey. But in 2017 is really where the NHI that we know today was birthed.
Sure.
And NHI is really at that stage of development towards universal health coverage where we're building a foundation. And that foundation is primary health care. So we all know someone in Bahamian society that has a catastrophic condition that's been touched by illness. Where NHI is that we want to change the relationship that people have with health care.
Sure.
That health care is not something that you think about when you're in distress, crisis, or need, but it is a part of your everyday living. And so where we are is really focused on preventative care, screening, ensuring that Bahamians are paired with a family physician, and so that they have that relationship and that they are starting to move towards healthier lifestyles, so they need less catastrophic interventions in latter years. So that's really where we are in the primary care phase, in the foundational phase for universal health coverage.
So you continue to throw the word catastrophic care around. And a lot of times in these spaces, I mean, I'm aware of what catastrophic care is. I'm sure Dr. Hannah is aware. But what exactly is considered catastrophic care? Because, there are some people that are fiends for medical attention.
Right.
And a lot of times, they mash their finger, they in the doctor, they want a surgery. They buck their toe, they want one surgery. How exactly should catastrophic care be considered by the mind or in the minds of the Joe public?
That's a great question because we have different levels of care. You have primary care, you have urgent care, you have emergent care, you have catastrophic care. And so it's important that we educate the Bahamian people that at those various levels that you know how to access care, what is available for you and where you should go. Catastrophic really comes from the word catastrophe. If something has happened to you that is catastrophic, that hampers your ability to live your daily life, you have an illness, and today we're here to talk about breast cancer in particular, that is a catastrophic illness or event. Now, the term catastrophic can be defined differently in different settings, but it is anything that really removes an individual from their regular life course, their routine. There's something that is happening to them that is far outside of the norm, that requires a different level of care and intervention. And that is what we would deem catastrophic care.
So, Dr. Hannah, as the Bahamian society grows, it appears as though more and more this, I call it a monster, as known as breast cancer, is becoming just more and more pervasive throughout the society. I know that you are the medical director over at NHI, which means, you know, this is something that I'm sure must be either at the fore of your mind or at least occupies your thought quite frequently. How exactly, looking at what the numbers suggest, seeing the uptick, I think it's 47% now or 44% of all Bahamian women are at some point going to have some interaction with this disease. What do those numbers suggest to you, firstly as a medical professional, but then secondly for the program NHI as you guys continue to build it out?
Well, that's a great question. Especially considering that this is October, which is the month that we focus on breast cancer. What this tells me is that we need to ensure that everyone is coming in for annual screenings, and that includes breast cancer screening. That includes males and females.
So I have to get my breast screened too?
Certainly.
Now, I want to tell you what the people at Sister told me when they was here.
What did they say?
They told me that sometimes the best way to detect anything in your breast is to have someone feel them.
That's correct.
And so I have been admonishing men all across the Bahamas.
Okay.
When they go home, when you go home this evening, in your effort to have healthy breasts in the house you live in, you go ahead and you feel the breast them to see if anything in there, what you're looking for. And if you don't find nothing, at least you still had a wonderful time looking for it. And so that is the advice I've been giving people. But I've been told that that's not enough.
You're correct. Respectfully, I would not disagree with them, because oftentimes a male may not take the time to examine himself. You know, he might not think that's macho or that's the right thing to do, to actually palpate or touch his own breast. So if your partner does it, kudos to her.
Yeah.
All right.
What if I do it back to her? Because I don't think she could get me feeling breast.
Likewise.
I feel like I'm a breast feeling
And that's
expert.
fine.
Okay.
Respectfully.
Good. All right.
So what I want to encourage everyone to do is go in to your physician, your NHI doctor, and get your annual screening.
Sure.
Okay, so we do a battery of tests, and not just testing for your pressure, sugar, cholesterol, obesity, which is checking for your BMI, but we also encourage persons to have their mammograms, ultrasounds if needed, okay? And when the doctor takes the actual history, especially if they notice things that are where you are at increased risk. Example, we know females, number one. If you may have the gene. You may have a family member that's first degree, your mom, any relative, your sister may have had breast cancer. So that means you need to bring your screening up at least 5 years prior to that person when they were diagnosed.
Wow.
So that's very important, okay?
So you're saying, let's make sure we clear this up, because I like to make sure Joe Public is with us. So you're saying, if Tida had breast cancer at 60,
yes,
Mama should go check at 55. And if Mama had breast cancer at 55, then baby should go check at 50.
In essence, you're right, but I would still, especially for our population, start baseline at age 40.
Okay.
So let me give you another scenario.
Okay.
We have some persons, so let's just say 35 or 30, who are diagnosed with advanced breast cancer.
Really?
Right, so that means if you wait until 40, you may not be alive
Wow.
to even have a chance to screen for breast cancer, right? So in that instance, you then would, let's just say the person was 35, your mom, your sister, then you come up at 30.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And at that age, because of more, we call it dense or thickness, let me use the word thickness of the breast tissue, then you may have to opt for an ultrasound, because the mammogram can only see through what I call less thick or less dense breast tissue.
Okay. Now, does that have anything to do with, when you talk about the density of the breast, that doesn't affect size at all? Because you could have a big breast woman who have
not necessarily
no density.
size, right. So density is like the thickness.
Right.
So, you know, we call them the young, springy breasts, the 15-year-old breasts.
Oh, they're my favorite kind.
Okay, then.
The springy ones.
Yes, so those ones would need more.
Those ones need checking too?
Ultrasound, every breast.
Oh, boy.
Every breast,
Okay.
sir. So you want to encourage self-breast examinations on persons, since we're going into that. And that would be the male as well. And you brought that up earlier.
Cooperative breast examination.
Whatever you like. I support you.
Right. And then medical breast examination.
Of course.
Okay.
All right. And it should be done once. Self is monthly. Okay. And if you're a woman that is menstruating, and for people that don't understand the word, getting your period, then you want to do it after when the breast is less tender.
Okay.
And let's just say if you're a woman who is postmenopause, I'll give you 65, 68. I always ask you, what day were you born on? Well, I was born on the 15th. So I say, well, okay, well, on the 15th of every month, because you remember your birth date.
Right.
So on that time, every month, you're going to do a self-breast examination. But you want to come into the physician at NHI and have us check your breast for you formally. And like I said, that's females and males. Yes, that's a part of the annual screening, sir.
Fantastic.
It is.
Okay. All right. So, enrollment numbers, Christy. I think I saw the numbers at about 160.
163 right now. 163,000.
That is a little less than I remember the number being, I think, a year ago. Wasn't it a bit higher at some point, like 100 and I think it's 74, something that I saw?
I think they may have been projections.
Okay.
Right? We haven't had any instance where there has been either mass disenrollment. So that was probably a projection figure.
Okay.
But today we stand at 163,000, beneficiaries.
Do you have the numbers that would suggest the ratio of men versus women that are enrolling for NHI?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So of that 163,000, 90,000 plus are female, and the additional 70,000 are male.
So 20,000 less men.
Yes.
Gentlemen, you all have to fix that number, all right?
And I would also like to add that, there is a disparity not only in enrollment, but utilization, because women are utilizing services more than men.
Yeah, but that's across the board. You know, that actually is also the case in private insurance.
It is. It is a universal situation where women utilize services more than men. However, we find, and certainly Dr. Hanna can talk to this from a clinical standpoint, that men are presenting at more advanced stages of diseases than women. Because, men typically don't go to the doctor. And if you're a Bahamian man, you don't go until you're almost dead.
Yeah, until it's height. When it's height, then you know you need to go see
or you lose functionality.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the numbers...
I like the way you said that just now. That was smooth.
Well,
anytime it stopped waking, he started going to the doctor.
And we don't want to wait for that to happen. We want to be able to provide screening to the male population before that, so that we're able to provide preventative care screening for our male population. And so there is a disparity, yes, in enrollment and utilization. And so this is a clarion call for all men. We're here to talk about breast cancer, certainly, but it is important for men in country to get screenings, to avail themselves of the PSA testing that's available via NHI. We want to make sure that men are enrolling and utilizing services as well, because our men are important.
So there is a running joke at the watering hole where I sometimes frequent, right? It's Friday. I will frequent a watering hole at some point. But the running joke is, you never see them running the highway till after they had to talk with the doctor.
Yes.
Yeah. All of a sudden, they can run every highway they could find. They never run once in their life. But one morning, something happened, and they go and see the doctor, and the doctor say, boy, we ain't sure. But maybe if you run, after that, they even ain't want no car no more. All they want to do is just run everywhere. Yeah. So don't wait till you get to that, right?
Yes.
Go see my friends over at NHI. Let them see if they can fix you up. Because, you want to make sure that all they doing is healing the sick and not raising the dead at some point. All right? Breast cancer. I know that breast cancer has been on your pocket or in the scope of NHI since its inception in 2017. I recall that at some point, among breast cancer, there were a series called a packet of care, standardized care.
Yes.
Is that still a direction of NHI? I also know that NHI had evolved from NHI 1.0 to NHI 1.2, which must obviously mean that there's an NHI 1.3 and 1.4 and 1.5.
Absolutely.
But where are we in that gradient towards the realization of NHI 2.0, which my understanding is full catastrophic care of a standardized packet of illnesses?
Okay. So, you're right. NHI had NHI 1.0, which was really the establishment of the program, primary care services. What was envisioned was that we would move from 1.0 to 2.0, which would have been a suite of catastrophic benefits: breast cancer, prostate cancer, end-stage kidney disease, cardiovascular conditions. And so it was a suite of catastrophic benefits that still remains a priority for the authority. Where we are is what we've termed NHI 1.1. And that is the strengthening of primary health care, the integration and amalgamation of primary health care services, so that we have a stronger foundation to move towards catastrophic care. So that is strengthening of screening, prevention. That is the inclusion of the National Prescription Drug Plan to the NHI program, so that we're offering comprehensive primary care, so that that can then springboard us to catastrophic care. Catastrophic care is very expensive. It's costly. It's necessary. And so it's important for us as a healthcare system to walk and chew gum at the same time. We have to screen people. We have to prevent illness while focusing on those in our population who are ill and providing care. So NHI really is strengthening the primary care level so that when we make that ascension to catastrophic care, we have an integrated and strengthened healthcare system that will allow us to be able to offer catastrophic care services.
So, Doc, I want to talk now about this managed pathway of care. Are we still referring it to that? The pathway of care, which starts at the GP, right? And my understanding is that the reason for the testing is so that you kind of build a relationship with your GP. Your GP kind of has an idea of what to expect with your health over the course of a period. But as we build that out, are we seeing where here's what I've heard. You know, I go to do my annual testing, but I find that either some of the things that I could screen for are no longer available, or I thought I could screen for breast cancer, but there's only one type of screening. There isn't this other type of screening. How exactly are physicians assigned or associated with the program directing care considering the guidelines of the testing?
Okay.
Is that clear enough for you? Because I feel like I may have lost myself.
That's okay. That's okay, but I'll attempt to answer.
Go ahead. I can let you know if you're answering me.
Okay, so you're talking about in terms of referral output.
No, so I'm talking about there is a standardized set of testing. What I hear from Bahamian women when I speak to them about their interaction with NHI is, well, I wanted to do this test, but you know that's not covered under NHI, or I wanted to do that test, but that's not covered under NHI. And so yes, I do my annual test every year, but on the issue of my breast, I still have to go and do this thing or that thing. With the GPs that are associated with the program, having that guideline, how is that affecting the way NHI distributes care?
That's a great question, and a very important one. When it comes to that, you're referring to screening in terms of blood tests. I don't know if you meant specifically the BRCA1 and the 2 gene screening, as well as cancer tumor marker screenings for breast cancer. Okay. Those, as well as at this time, the mammogram is not covered under the NHI program. However, it is something that we are working towards and hopefully bring on in the future. Right?
Can I add a point to that?
Sure.
So I think one of the greatest tools that we have, both as a program and what we've been able to provide physicians, is the use of an electronic health record. And so we're no longer looking at what's happening in practices anecdotally or in silos. And so the data that we're getting from the electronic health record, although certain conditions there may not be coverage under the NHI program for, we're able to track and record. So that allows NHI to be able to make evidence-based decisions in the future. That is the reason why, you know, we are endeavoring to include mammography in the program, because the evidence is clear. Physicians are documenting in their encounters with Bahamian women that they are seeing an increase in the prevalence of breast cancer. That then, when we're able to provide additional services and additional notation, will allow us to be able to determine where else we need to expand to.
To source the fund, to direct the funding.
Correct, and to be able to garner the resources from an evidence-based standpoint to be able to say this is what's happening in our community. We need additional testing based on this because this is not covered. And so that is a tool that we think is useful in being able to really identify and then quantify where the program needs to expand and to meet the needs of Bahamian women that need to access care, and actually all Bahamians under the program.
Right. You talked about, Doc, the access of screening at the NHI facility.
Yes.
How robust a program is that? Like, is it
very robust?
Is it something that people can kind of walk in and experience? The population of women around here, I think 51% of it, they tell me, are women. So that would mean there's about 200,000 of them if you consider young girls. If you wipe out 40,000 to take out the girls, you're talking about maybe 160,000 women, maybe. But does what exists now have the capacity to meet those needs, that kind of population need?
At the capacity we're at now, presently we are meeting the needs.
Okay.
However, there's always room for growth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we do have in place basic annual screening at this time, and like I said, there are a few specialty screenings, but I know we're focusing on breast cancer today. But like she mentioned, the PSA, we have screening for those who, if you have seizures, for example. We do have estrogen, progesterone, just other female, as well as male hormonal markers available. Diabetes testing, so there is a litany of tests available, but there is always room for expansion, because I know we're focusing now on the breast cancer. In regards to that, like I said, we have room to expand further into that area.
And with the uptick or with the prevalence of breast cancer and its evolution, I mean, you know, if the number is in fact 40% or there's about, that means 4 out of every 10 women you run into is having some difficulty with their breasts. I run into 10 women every 10 minutes. When you look at the numbers that way, it becomes glaringly obvious that this is a thing that, if not addressed, is going to become catastrophic. But again, catastrophic care is very expensive. I know that the plan at some point was to scale in some sort of a scheduling that would address the issue of cost. We're at 1.1, of course. The scheduling of cost is at 2.0. So at 1.2 or at 1.3, we may still not see that. But my daddy would always say, while the grass is growing, the cows are dying. And you can't brag about growing grass if you have dying cows. In your mind, Madam MD, as you think about that reality, how are you beginning to pivot toward, if not a standardized packet of care, maybe a window of specialized focused care, and we say, okay, we give the man one and we give the woman one. We look at breast and we look at prostate. Or we'll look at breasts, don't say heart, because then that's every Bahamian, right? We'll look at breasts, and then we'll look at maybe, what else do men have? I don't know, men really don't have no issues. But is there...
Until they have major issues.
Well, actually, I saw on the internet somewhere that they said the greatest issue most men have is a woman. But NHI don't cover that, right?
Hey, not at this time.
But, I mean, as the managing director, I'm sure these are the things that keep you awake at night.
Absolutely.
Trying to figure out how do you pivot the program in a way that that addresses the issues, that causes people to get care, but also helps them to maintain their dignity, because that is ultimately what healthcare comes down to. Any thoughts about how or what is the goal, short term and maybe even medium term?
Absolutely. So you mentioned a standard health benefit or a standard package, and NHI from inception has been working on that, and that is a framework that says at minimum every Bahamian in country should have access to these services, and the intent is to have that package of benefits expand incrementally over time and expand in a responsible but evidence-based way. So going back to the AHR, what are we seeing in facilities, what are we seeing in the Bahamian population that will inform what should be in this standard health benefit? So that exists today. The benefits that are a part of NHI right now form a standard health benefit, and we're working towards making that a national standard health benefit. As we look to say incrementally what needs to be included in that standard health benefit, we then have to tailor it, to your point, to men, women, vulnerable populations. What is it that we're going to need for an elderly and aging population? Our population is aging. What are we going to need in terms of care for Alzheimer's, dementia, palliative care, home care, for infant and maternal care, which is covered under NHI, which is a part of a benefit that is available. And so yes, it is important in my role to balance what we see in terms of the future, the evidence that is telling us we need to expand in this area, while maintaining maintaining the resources and making sure that we are having the most impact with the resources that we do have. And so a standard health benefit has always been on the table. It exists now. It is our job to make sure that that expands in a way that we are covering the needs of the Bahamian people and doing it evidence-based so that we are reaching more people and providing equitable services to them.
That sounds like a pretty good answer.
Can I add something?
Sure.
So, to add to what she said too, and that's why it's most important to push prevention. Okay, because we're already speaking about the end of the line, but we have to start at the beginning of the line and remember preventative care. Get your annual physicals, come in, see what's going on. Not because you don't feel something means there's nothing going on. And you wouldn't know unless you check.
You gotta check.
You have to check.
And
you
I
have to
always
test.
tell people, it ain't random screening unless you randomly do it.
Right, exactly.
You just gotta say, hold on, what the day is? I ain't been in a year. Let me go today.
Exactly.
It's random. Yeah.
We don't have to wait until we get to trying to fund, like you said, catastrophic health care, looking toward cookouts and sponsorships and sponsorships, GoFundMe, prevention.
Indeed. All right, we're getting ready to go to the break, but you know, I want to talk on the next side of the break about the difficulty of healthcare, the provision of healthcare rather, in an archipelago, right? And the challenges that come along with that, because breasts in Bimini matter just as much as breasts in Inagua. Anyway, don't go anywhere. I'm Levan Miller. We're here on Freedom March. I've got my friends at NHI here with me. We still talking with breasts, y'all. Go home and check some breasts out this evening. That's my advice to you. We'll be right back after the break.
This is Freedom March.
Hello, welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you for staying with us through the break. I'm Levan Miller. You're listening to us on 103.5 The Beat FM, channel 224. Channel 112, that's on Cable and Flow, and of course ILTV Studios on Facebook. I have to keep saying it because every time you all see me out, you always ask me the same question. Where you find the show? 103.5 The Beat FM, channel 224 on Cable, channel 112 on Flow, and ILTV Studios, where if you go into the search bar and you type in ILTV Studios and you click the little thing there, you'll see a little box. It says follow. You click the follow, and every time we hot, you'd be hot. Okay? Fantastic stuff. All right, so my friends at NHI are still here. I'm here with the managing director, Ms. Christy Butler, and of course with the medical director, Dr. Hannah. Dr. Hannah, again, Ms. Butler, welcome to Freedom March. So, we're talking about breast cancer because it is the month of October. But of course, I'm fully aware that NHI is breast cancer and so much more, right? Like when I think about NHI, I have to say this. When I think about NHI, I think about, do you remember there used to be an old commercial for the Stop and Shop downtown? You remember the commercial? Come into the Stop and Shop, where your one-stop stop and shop for all your shopping needs. We have everything you need and more. We're your one-stop stop and store. We have all the things you need, and some of the things you didn't even know you need until you get here.
True.
Yeah, so I think about NHI when I think about, I think about the Stop and Shop when I think about NHI,
Right.
believe it or not. And it's because I get it, you know, there's a population that is aging. That population largely only enjoys medical insurance cover during the period of their employment. Which is crazy because the time in your life where you're probably gonna need medical insurance will be right around the time you no longer have a job. And since, you know, those two have some sort of a happy union, employment and insurance, you have to think about what will happen to the part of the population that either is unemployed or done with employment. And I imagine that those are the people where NHI catches the gap. But with the upticks in breast cancer, with the upticks in renal failure, with the upticks in heart conditions around this place, it is a real challenge when you consider funding to even formulate a plan that would target or cater to every single Bahamian, albeit it's not that very many of us, right? I imagine it must be a daunting task. How are you keeping the team over at NHI motivated? Looking at the hill, I'm ex-Marine, by the way, right?
Okay.
And, you know, we used to sing like cadence and things, right? I want to tell you at 40, somehow cadence don't work as well for me. No matter how many cadence I sing, this is still a hill, right? So I mean, but that's how we motivated ourselves when I was over in that place. How are you keeping the team motivated? How are you keeping the executive team motivated? How are you keeping the board motivated toward the common loftier goal?
So the mandate of NHI is a lofty one, and it is one that people, I have found, readily get behind.
Okay.
The mandate of what we're doing, that we're trying to make the Bahamas a healthier nation, to have a healthier population. We're trying to provide universal health coverage to Bahamians. We want Bahamians to be able to have equitable access to care and maintain their dignity. And so although there are challenges, and sometimes you're right, the path in front of us is daunting because there is a lot to do. The work is plenty, and the laborers are few. And how do you keep those laborers encouraged? One is the mandate.
Sure.
People that are engaged with the program, and I'm sure you can attest to this, you feel a sense of pride and meaning about the work that the NHI program is doing. That's the first thing. The second thing is we encourage advocacy. And a part of that NHI team, although not in the traditional sense, board members and employees are physicians, provide a network who does a yeoman's task in servicing the Bahamian people and our beneficiaries, and have been very patient despite challenges in terms of wanting to see expansion of benefits, in terms of funding sustainability, in terms of asking those questions, what is next for NHI? But it goes back to keeping the team and teams focused on the mandate.
Sure.
Sharing as much information as we can about the program. So every year we've been publishing annual performance reports because it's important that NHI is not just this building on East Street South or that you are assigned to a physician, but what are we learning with the invention of the NHI program in the Bahamian population, and that we do see that there's progress. That the number one reason that we're having visits are for annual screenings.
Okay.
We are also encouraging the team and others by sharing stories.
Okay.
You know, I'm proud when I wear my NHI shirt somewhere and I'm stopped and the person says, do you know I was diagnosed pre-diabetic by my NHI provider? Or, I'm hypertensive. I found that out by going to my NHI provider. And so it is the mandate, it is the stories that we hear, it is the evidence that we're seeing that the program is making an impact. And that makes the climb up the hill just a little bit easier. Because we're invested in the work that we do, whether it's our employees, the board, our amazing providers who have partnered with us to provide healthcare to Bahamians. It is being focused on the mandate, it is hearing the success stories, and it is sharing the information that we're able to get from this program.
That beats the hell out of singing cadence.
I guess it does. Hey, it gets me there every morning.
Yeah. So okay, so that is how you're keeping the team motivated. I know that you all recently, let me say, like, Bravo Zulu, like, that is amazing work that you finally made the trek from the National Drug Prescription Plan to having that from the National Insurance Board and into the overview or the oversight of the NHI. Phenomenal. I mean, it is a common sense solution. How has that affected, benefited, or what are your numbers suggesting that is doing for people like persons with the breast cancer who have lifelong medication that they now now have to take, right? Like, when you introduce the word catastrophic or chronic anywhere in your healthcare, this regimen is not something that is optional. With the injection of the National Drug Plan, is it still called that under NHI? Okay, the National Drug Plan through NHI, how has that affected what it is your clients, your patients experience with the program?
Right. So the move will take place formally in 2026, early 2026.
Okay.
But certainly as a part of that process, there has been much engagement and much learning about the two programs and how best to amalgamate them. And what we have found is a large overlap of beneficiaries from both programs, okay? Almost half of the National Prescription Drug, well, more than half of the National Prescription Drug Plan beneficiaries are a part of NHI.
Sure.
So what does that mean? It means now that resident in one program will be all of your health benefits.
Sure.
And so we will be able to identify what are the medication needs of the population, what are the conditions that NHI needs to support in the future, not just from benefit in terms of coverage and screening, but also from a medicine or medication management standpoint. And so it means that we're no longer operating in silos in the health sector. It means that we are leveraging resources, we're leveraging technology. So we will be able to make decisions about the NHI benefit package that keeps in mind those beneficiaries of the National Prescription Drug Plans, keeps in mind what our resources are in country for medication. And I can tell you a part of this integration has not just focused on NHI and the National Prescription Drug Plan, but also drug procurement for the entire country. How do we procure smarter? How do we procure using economies of scale? How do we look at what medication procurement and management needs to be for the entire country? And so I agree. I think it's a pivotal move towards us really amalgamating resources in country and providing support for our beneficiaries on all fronts. And so, we're excited about the integration of the National Prescription Drug.
Do you have an idea when in 26?
So we're targeting definitely first quarter by February of 2026 for the transition.
Now, I know this always comes up. Of course, this isn't on my list of questions, but this always comes up. People... So I've had private insurance. I know that the medication when I go to my private insurance provider look a little different than when I go to the public provider. The culture of the Bahamas, and I always tell people, you can't create a single policy void of the consideration for the culture. And the culture of the Bahamas is Bahamians like name brand things. I don't even know why. I don't know what difference would it make. It's a pill, just take it, right? What does it matter if the pill come from some name brand company? Just take the pill. But that is something that Bahamians consider.
Right.
Is that something that you're also factoring in your procurement, in your build out of the National Prescription Drug Plan, that people say, well, when I was with them other people who was privately insuring me, I was taking the pink box. You only have no pink box.
Right.
How do you go through the community education, the engagement with the stakeholders, who are the patients, of course, in this instance, to let them know that, or are you intending to go name brand straight across the board? But we know that there's a cost associated with that.
Right.
How are you? Do you have a plan to work with that in the culture? And how much of a difficulty do you think that'll be?
So, name brand is definitely a cultural element.
I can tell you that.
What we are focused on is efficacy, because a Lamborghini can break down.
Indeed.
So can a Maserati.
Indeed. And,
right?
and the worst thing is to need your Lamborghini and you can't get your Lamborghini.
Right. But if a Honda is a reliable vehicle that can get you where you need to go safely. So for us, we are focused on efficacy.
Sure.
And so in the procurement of drugs in country, under the National Prescription Drug Plan, we are tasked with making sure that we have drugs that are safe for consumption. And that is what we want the Bahamian people to be confident about. That a medication that is prescribed to you, whether it is in a pink box or a white box, that the NHI program, the health sector at large, is focused on whether or not this medication is safe and that it's going to have the effect that it needs to have. And in some instances, in order to achieve that, we're going to have to go with a brand.
Right.
In some instances, we're able to do that with a generic.
Right.
But efficacy is the name of the game, and that's what we're going to be guided by. And again, evidence-based decisions. We have to allow the science and the information to guide us.
Sure.
Once we have that and we communicate that with the Bahamian people, then you can go to Dr. Google and do your research to say that, hey, this brand is...
ChatGPT turning everybody into MD.
It is, it is the most efficacious for you. It gives you the results that you're looking for, and that is where we're focused on.
Yeah.
So to support what you said, patients often ask that question, so I tell them, so we have A combined with B, right? Or B combined with C, but B is the active ingredient in both.
Right.
So A may just have grape flavoring, it may just have something else. So these are excipients we call, or added agents that are not necessarily needed.
That's
and
a
they
sexy
don't
word, an excipient.
Yeah, they're not necessarily needed, but they just use it in the packaging of the drug.
Sure.
But B is what's needed. That's the common drug. That's the common denominator. So then those who made B with C, so it's like, what one headache drug may work for you may not work for me, and vice. But there are common things, and that's what you educate the patient and just remind them of that.
Well, I'm not a medical doctor. You probably can't guess that. But one of the things I found.
Couldn't tell.
One of the things I found is a lot of times compliance comes with comfort and confidence, right?
Yes.
And so it's because I've had a house full of aging people. I know my grandma don't like to take the pills with in the big box. And she just tell herself, these pills in the white box make me feel funny. When I read the ingredients, they look identical to me. But her mind tells her, every time I take this pill in the white box, this is make my stomach feel bad.
Right.
But I said, but Grammy, I can't tell you what in this white box making you feel bad, because according to the ingredients, this is the exact pill. As a physician, Dr. Hannah, how do your colleagues, the providers in the NHI space, how do you imagine they navigate that?
Well, simple. First of all, you find out, you let the patient know that whatever you said is valid, because that's how they feel. So I'm not going to say, well, you shouldn't feel like that. Of course, that's how you feel.
You know, some of that is hocus pocus.
No. See, one of the best ways to win somebody over, you let them know, guess what? I appreciate what you say, and it's valid. That's number one. Number two, say, well, bring all your drugs. Let's see what's going on. Because sometimes there could be an interaction with another drug that's making them feel that sort of way. So you can't assume that it's in their mind. Because sometimes when you combine one drug with another, it may cause the feeling to vomit, which is nausea, vomiting, stomach upset, or loose stools, whatever symptoms they're having, okay? And You look at that, you can cut back on what they don't need necessarily. And sometimes there are drugs that be combined 2 in 1 tablet. Also for pills that make them feel bad, I say, well, take it at night before you go to bed. Yeah, so there are ways
feel bad while you sleep.
No, man, don't say that. No, I was just...
Yeah, you can't feel bad if you sleep.
No.
But you know, that's a very...
Yeah, there are ways that you could go around, because you let them know, hey, I'm working with you. Doc, remember now, the goal is to get them to take the pill.
But you know,
I want you to take the pill. I want you to take the pill.
When I was growing up as a boy, right? You tell my grandma, you hungry? She said, go sleep. You can't be hungry and sleep. Yeah, you'll forget all about your hunger.
You have to get creative ways, and then some people, if they have to take it with something that offsets the taste, okay, let's just say a drug that we use, I don't want to use the name, but that can make people feel bad. It has sulfur in it. Okay. And guess what? You take it with this, and it makes you feel much better. Yeah. So there are ways you can go around things. Okay. But first of all, you got to let them know that what you're experiencing is valid.
Okay.
And partnership. What you mentioned was that with your grandmother, you are partnering with the physician, you're validating their needs, and you're coming up with a solution together. And that's what we need more of.
Okay, so I understand that we haven't gotten to 2.0, we're at 1.1, right? Let me firstly state publicly that I think that you all are doing the work of the Lord over there at NHI, right? Like, this is God's work. Yeah,
Thank you.
It is.
Could I tell you we believe in it too?
Yeah, it is.
Can I tell you? I think if I speak for most of the employees, we actually believe in it.
Yeah.
You believe in God, like you know He real.
The product is
it's an excellent product.
Yeah, right. So we're not at 2.0, which means we're not going to 1.2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 yet. But on the journey towards 2.0. I imagine that enrollment is still key among some of the goals that you have to achieve. The other thing I want to also ask, particularly you, Doc, is to the patients out there who say, well, if you only have no catastrophic care, what I don't know can't kill me. They say you can't have breast cancer unless they tell you have it. So I ain't going, they ain't tell me I have it, so I ain't have it. What do you say to those kinds of people?
I love examples, right? So a patient came and she's like, I'm not doing the mammogram. I'm not going to do that because we're in October. I'm not doing that. That thing is going to squeeze my breast and it hurt. I say, boy, imagine dying from breast cancer.
Yeah.
Imagine not being able to source a medication. All right? Imagine being in such a space to where you are active, taking care of your own self. You possibly have kids. You wanted to see their grandkids. You see what I did there? You got to make the shift and let them see. Yeah. Let them understand the importance of screening. Yeah. Let's not wait until we get to the end of the line. All right, we at the beginning, let's do something now. Or let's catch things in its early stages to where there is something that can be done. All right? So education, that's my mantra, and pushing prevention. Catastrophic care, we need it, but I'm a family medicine doctor. Big up to the family medicine doctors.
Okay.
So I have to push prevention. Yeah. That is what I believe in, preventative health care.
But you know, again, we go back to the culture. You can't do anything for it, the consideration for the culture, right? I'm sure you've often heard people say, child, the minute he found out he had that thing, boy, 2 weeks later he's
Correct.
I love the way Bateman's justified that,
and
right?
It's true.
Child, all that time he was
carry him quick.
As
soon as daddy gone to the doctor, right? And some of the fellas I know say, well, I know if the cancer kill him or if going to the doctor kill him.
Correct, I understand.
Because before he gone to the doctor, he had the cancer and he was fine. As soon as he gone to the doctor.
It's true.
You've touched on something I think that is so important, and that is the cultural connection that Bahamians have with healthcare. And that is really one of the things that we're trying to ensure that there's a paradigm shift.
Sure.
Okay? That Bahamians don't just go to the doctor when it is catastrophic, when they're really feeling sick, when something stops functioning. That is not the relationship that we're trying to foster with Bahamians and healthcare. We're trying to foster a relationship that you know who your provider doctor is. They know your medical history. For someone who has a strong family history of breast cancer, I want my physician to know my history. I want to be proactive in my care, because an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. And so sometimes when we hear those adages that, you know, oh, he went to the doctor and he died shortly after, because in some instances he waited until the final stage. And we don't want that. We want Bahamians to have a healthy relationship with health care, and that is really one of the mandates of the authority. So we've talked a lot today about preventative care, because catastrophic needs to exist. We've talked about that. We have to walk and chew gum at the same time in the health sector. But wouldn't it be culturally advantageous that we have less people that need catastrophic care, that people prioritize their primary health care, their prevention and their screening, so that we could be a healthier nation?
Yeah. No, I absolutely can buy into that. And like I said, it's not something that requires massive effort. You literally need to just commit, on average, go in once a year. And from my understanding of how NHI works, if by chance your physician assumes she needs to see you twice a year, that is also something that she can work right into your pathway of care.
It's covered.
Yeah. So get yourself on the treadmill towards good health care.
Correct.
You know, this is what I tell people. When you're 25, there are two things that you should know for sure: who your general practitioner is, and which deodorant this week for you. Yeah, you can't be figuring the things out at 25. Those are two good things to know. Yeah, at 25, we ain't guessing with the deodorant. You know exactly which one to put on.
Correct.
And you should be just as confident with your service provider. How many service providers are there now in the program?
130.
130.
Physicians across 9 islands.
Okay.
And so we're very proud of that. Before the break, you talked about the archipelago and providing care. And that's been very important to NHI, that this is not just a Nassau-centric program, that we're providing services in the family islands.
Okay.
And so, yes, we're proud of our network. We have 18 laboratories that are part of the NHI network, because lab services are covered in that benefit package as well.
Okay. So now we have to talk about accessibility to NHI.
Sure.
Now, you might not know this about me, but at one point in my life, you know, in a different incarnation of my life, I was intrinsically involved with NHI.
Say it ain't so, I didn't, you know.
Yeah. Tell no man you saw me.
Is that so?
Tell no man you saw me. We bragged then that we could enroll you in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Man, y'all could beat that?
Absolutely. Enrollment is very easy.
Hold on now. Y'all beating 1 minute and 30 seconds?
Enrollment is very easy.
Wow. Okay. Tell me how you roll it.
So I'm encouraging all Bahamians, under the sound of my voice, if you're not enrolled in the NHI program, you can visit us on East Street and Purpose Way. You can phone us at 396-8500.
Say that slow for them. They never get the number.
Sure. 396-8500. We're located on East Street and Purpose Way. You can follow us on any of our socials, Facebook, Instagram, and send us a message, and we can get you enrolled. I also want to petition those Bahamians that have enrolled in the program that I meet all the time and said, I enrolled back in 2017. I don't remember who my doctor is, or I'm enrolled, I've never had a visit. Go and have your annual visit with your NHI provider. Get screened.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will help them with them directions, because you know you give them very sophisticated directions. Bahamians don't take directions like
East Street and Purpose Way.
Teachers Credit Union building.
Okay. No Purpose Way, yes.
Okay.
You
Teachers
know where
Credit
the
Union
portion control
complex.
is? Zoom this camera in on me, our producer. Listen, you know where portion control is? Okay, when you get the portion control, you're going towards the big roundabout.
Okay.
All right. Well, you know you can't cross the road because they got this cement in the middle of the road. Go round the roundabout and come back. Teachers Credit Union will be on your left-hand side. You got to tell them and things like that, because they don't know north and south and east and west. Right after you pass the Teachers Credit Union, the little corner right there, you just take the little corner and the gate could be right there. It's the big white building. You can't miss it.
Teachers Credit Union complex.
And every time you get Bahamians directions, you have to end by saying you can't miss it.
You can't miss it.
See that?
It's a big building.
Yeah, that's how you know they get the directions down back after that. But anyway, ladies, it was very fun talking to you.
Can I say one more thing before we end? I'd like to say thank you to the beneficiaries as well as our providers. Thank you so much. We appreciate your efforts, and do not think that it goes unnoticed. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you all for being with us on Freedom March. So we've been talking to the Managing Director for NHI, Ms. Christy Butler, and the Medical Director, Dr. Hannah, over there at NHI. We've got more show on the next side of the break. Don't move. My friends from NHI are going to get out of here. Y'all go heal woman breasts in Jesus' name. And I've got more Freedom March on the next side of the break when we get back. This is Freedom March.
Experience the difference with BTC's fixed services. Whether you're working from home or enjoying family time, BTC ensures you're always in touch with the people and moments that count. BTC isn't just a service, it's a lifestyle. Stay connected, stay inspired, and live your best life. BTC.
This is Freedom March.
Welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you so much for staying with us through the break. Again, I'm Levan Miller. You're listening to us on 103.5, the Beat FM, channel 224, that's cable, channel 112, that's Flow, and of course ILTV Studios on Facebook. He's back. Bradley Rowell, spiritual advisor extraordinary and plenipotentiary, is back with us. And Bradley, the girls from NHI, they were fun.
Yeah.
I like talking to them. And you know, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I just thought it would be really cool for people to know that you could go and get free screening for breast cancer. Not the mammogram and all that stuff, but you could do the blood testing and you could go look for some other things and see if any other thing wrong.
What's wrong, yeah.
While you go check for your breast and that sort of
so on
stuff.
and so forth.
Yeah, so Dr. Hannah was here, of course, Christy Butler, the managing director for NHI, were here with us a couple of minutes ago. And basically they're saying that people should enroll. Bradley, you know people that are enrolled with NHI? Are you enrolled with NHI, Bradley?
No, I'm not.
Bradley, we have to fix this.
Yeah, indeed.
Bradley, we have to fix. Bradley, we have to leave here this minute and go enroll you in NHI. And you'll have a wonderful doctor and they'll check your pressure every year. And you know, this is around the kind of time when I understand they check in prostates as well, Bradley.
Yeah.
So you could go get your prostate checked and all kind of other things checked.
But I have a private doctor that I go to.
Your private doctor is an NHI physician?
He might be, Dr. Joseph Evans. He might be.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So you could imagine, you could take Joseph Evans, since you didn't know him, sign up for NHI, tell NHI you want Joseph Evans to be your primary, and boom, now you'll have an NHI physician, and all your blood work, you'll be able to do the screening and the testing and the this thing and the that thing and the, you know.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so I recommend it. And so if you know women, only because this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, if you know women, let the woman them, after they done let corporate feeling of the breast occur, which again you hear NHI, the doctor from NHI say that it's okay to have corporate breast feeling while you're looking for lumps in your breast.
Right, indeed.
Yeah, so there's nothing sinful about that.
No. It's a
if
medical.
you and sore fans home, and you say, sore fans, bring these breasts, let me look for cancer.
Well, that's a different thing. I thought you were talking about the doctor.
No,
the doctor doing it is if it's a medical thing.
No, that's not what the doctor said. The doctor said, the producer's radio, he heard it. The doctor say, you check every month.
The person can actually self-examine themselves.
Yeah, every month.
Yeah, okay.
And then you and whoever in the house with you could check.
Okay.
And then after you all finish doing that, then you all go check the doctor.
So if you're not a medical doctor, how do you know what you're looking for?
Because you know how the breast would feel the last time you squeezed them.
Oh, so
and
you're
you know when you
talking about
squeeze them
husband and
this
wife.
time.
You're talking about husband and wife
Husband could squeeze
situation.
breast?
Yeah.
Bradley, I'm just saying, what if I have a roommate?
Let me tell you what.
Right. And my roommate say, Levan, I want you to feel my breast because something here don't feel right. And I feel her breast. Are you saying to me that that's sinful?
Yeah, I think it is.
How is that sinful?
Because
it's for science. It can't be sinful and for science.
It's an improper touching.
Man, that ain't in the Bible.
If you're not married.
That ain't in the
Bible.
Bible. That ain't in the Bible, Bradley.
Well, that's what my conscience tells me.
Oh, boy.
You know.
I tell you all must get spare key for heaven, Bradley.
It ain't that. I mean, if you're not married to a person.
Yeah, but she having a little.
You don't have no right to a body.
But if she give you a right, because you remember now, you know how the police could get in your house without a warrant. You know how the police could get in your house without a warrant.
Then she could change your mind and say she ain't tell you to touch it like that, and then that's a different story altogether.
Then all you do is touch it. Then all you do is touch it good enough to change her mind right back.
These things could happen.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, so I'm very happy that we had that conversation with them today because I understand that they are still enrolling people. They said they could sign you up in 1 minute and 30 seconds, Bradley.
Wow.
Yeah. You know where to find them?
Is it that easy? Or they have this information already from NIB on you, if you have an NIB.
Once they register your NIB,
so all the information will come up in the system.
They give you the doctor that you say you want.
Okay.
And yeah, it's pretty much, you go from there. In 15 days or so, bam, you get a call from your physician, you go see your doctor, and from that day forward, you are an NHI
patient. Yes.
And in early 2026, she say that they should be also providing the medication, which is fantastic. I think that is phenomenal. I think that's phenomenal. And I will tell you what I hope to see soon. You know what I hope to see, Bradley? I hope to see universal birth control added to NHI. Because I'll tell you, you don't know this, but I'll tell you what happens in this country is birth control costs women. You know, I often say that I learned this from His Learned Lordship, Sir Michael Barnett. Tan Stafford, there ain't no such thing as free lunch, right? And so you say, oh, we already provide universal birth control. I believe we provide the facade of universal birth control. Because just as a woman can access all these other things through an NHI physician, why can she not access her birth control through her NHI physician? And what do I mean? I mean, if she goes to a government clinic, right, where the birth control is free, she has to commit herself to waking up 5 o'clock in the morning, going and get a number, going back home, bathing, going back to the clinic around 10, sitting there for 4 hours. Well, that 4 hours has a value.
Yeah.
Waking up 5 o'clock have a value. What is the cost associated with her trying to be a responsible adult? You follow me?
Yeah.
And so if we changed the way we do it, right, and we simply roll child, because it is duplicitous in my view. Why? Because NHI covers prenatal, antenatal, and postnatal care, right? Well, how come we just already pay for everything concerning the baby except for the prevention of the baby?
Yeah, the birth control.
You follow my? It's duplicitous, right? Because it all is a part of family planning. It is all a part of women health. And so I say, Bradley, you know, I don't know how I let Christy get out of here without asking her, but I do want that to be added at some point.
A part of it, yeah.
Into the packet of care. Because I think it's an easy thing to accomplish. You should just simply be able to go to the person that is your general practitioner and have that general practitioner who knows your dietary restrictions, who knows your medication, etc., and to have that person put you on something that is, you know, easy for you to be able to use. So that's what's happening. So Bradley, here's what we're doing. By Monday, you are gonna have to go and get enrolled for NHI, Bradley. And I want you to take at least 3 people with you. You know 3 people?
Nah, I don't know if I could promise you that, honestly.
You don't want to take 3
No,
people?
I mean, I don't know if I could promise you that. I could talk to some people about, signing up.
It take 90 seconds, Bradley. What it can cost them?
Well, I have to convince them. I'll convince some people to go.
But are you not?
See if I could take at least with 10.
10 is a good number.
If I could, talk to some people where I used to work and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's no reason to not be enrolled with NHI, right? I think it is certainly something that allows for a better quality of life, especially as an aging population. Yeah, and so I think that people should pay attention to that kind of stuff around this place. So the hurricane took place this week, Bradley. Of course, Jamaica has been very hardly hit. We also had to evacuate people from the southeastern corridor this weekend. You're seeing the effects from that. And, the hurricane season is still ahead of us.
A full month.
Right.
Wow.
As somebody that's lived a lot more life than I have, though.
I've experienced some bad ones.
Which were the worst ones?
Matthew was bad.
92.
Quite honestly, I don't recall anything. The one in 2016.
As Matthew in Nassau. I mean, as Andrew in Nassau. Even Matthew, in my view, wasn't as bad as Andrew in Nassau. 2016. That was Matthew.
Yeah, boy, that was up in Matthew.
Do you think that was worse than Andrew?
When the water came up in the south. Whew, wow.
I don't know.
That was a memory.
I live in the south, and
I live along the coastal area, so the water came into everybody's home.
Yeah, but after Andrew, I remember power lines were down, trees were down. Andrew was awful. But 2016 with Matthew was a watery storm. That's what I like to call them. And those watery storms, I guess the brunt of them is while they're happening, but the minute they don't blow anything away.
They cause some damage. I mean.
Yeah, and sometimes I prefer to deal with that. Like the wind, the gusting, and how soon after Dorian did you go into Abaco?
Mind you, I didn't visit Abaco, but I saw photos. And yeah, I mean,
it's because the wind moves things, Bradley. Like there was a building here. There is no more building here. You know, because they built a lot of those townhouses with the hardy plank and hardy plank stand no chance in this. This little roof you all had pitched here, this stands no chance. And so that's it's one of those things that I guess as we develop. I note that the Jamaican Prime Minister at one point said to the Jamaican news, he said, listen, do not create panic among the society, right? A Category 5 is approaching. You all got news story about a drain that isn't clear. And yes, the government could shift its resources and its attention and could clear the drain immediately, actually. The difficulty with that is, in a time like this, the government would be far better suited directing its resources and its mind on the things that matter. And he also went on to say, because in the case of a Cat 5, no infrastructure you have will withstand.
Okay, yeah.
And there isn't any infrastructure in the region that would withstand it. And by that, I think he also means like the Americas as well. So I guess us in the media, we have a bit of a role to play, Bradley. But I think that governments also can't get away with the easy cop-out. Because yes, while it is irresponsible for me to report that the drain is clogged, it is irresponsible for you to have let the drain clog.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And so I think as we develop as nations, we've got to figure out national maintenance, right? That's your area of expertise. We've got to figure out how to make sure that people's efforts aren't overlapping that compound the problem. So Bradley cut the grass on the side of the road, then blow the grass with a blower, and then blow all this grass down in the drain.
Yeah, well,
now when the rainwater go in the drain,
wash it, yeah.
The grass causing density in the drain that's stopping the mud. Now the mud and the grass make a blanket in the drain. The government just cleared this drain out last week.
Yeah, clogged, yeah.
Right? When Bradley collected money for cutting this grass, the government ain't get a dime out of that, except for when Bradley be business license.
But they now have to find money to pay somebody to clear the drain.
To clean the drain that Bradley clogged with his weed whacker.
It's counterproductive.
Yeah, so we've got to figure those kinds of things out, Bradley, because hurricanes are apparently more frequent and more violent. My view is, well, Donald Trump say it's a hoax.
But you can see it.
Donald Trump said one time ago the world was cooling down too much, now the world heating up too much. And he think it's a big hoax.
Well,
I don't disagree with Donald, I tell you. I remember, Bradley, the PBS commercial with Smokey the Bear where they tell me, stop using brown paper bag. They come back 24 years later and tell me, for God's sake, use the brown paper bag. Because these plastic bags killing the planet. Yeah? Remember the whole debate they had on CFCs? We have to take CFCs or the aerosol products, right? Do you know what a CFC is? A chlorofluorocarbon. Yeah, you have to take that out of all of the aerosol cans. So it was in things like
because it was depleting the ozone layer. Yes, CFC.
Yeah, okay, and so it depends, Bradley, on which year you're born and who the scientist is. That will determine the science you believe.
The environment,
Yeah, so do I disagree with Donald Trump that it is a hoax? Not entirely. Some of it I think is made up. Just like how I thought some of COVID is made up. Right? Are there people that are dying? Yes. Should we shut the whole planet down for it? No. Did shutting the whole world down cause greater damage than the people that died? I believe so.
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
There are people who are still grappling today, trying to recover from debt. From the DEBT of COVID.
And the damage caused, Yeah,
people have lost their houses. Mortgage crises were created. Economic, staggering occurred. It is difficult to stop the planet. And for the flu, which is largely what COVID was, we did that. And
I don't know if COVID is a flu, though.
COVID was largely
I had
inflammation in the lung. I had COVID as well.
That wasn't no flu. I don't know what you call that.
It's like a
it had to be an experiment to me. Ain't no flu.
When did you get COVID?
I caught COVID in June of 2020. And I was hospitalized for 17 days.
Wow.
At the South Beach Clinic.
Wow.
And then quarantined for another 15 when I was released. So
it was almost light skin when you come back with that.
I lost a lot of weight. I lost quite a bit of weight, but that wasn't no flu. That was flu on steroids.
Yeah.
Because it's like it just wouldn't go away. I caught it and it was just getting worse, worse and worse. Well, at one point it got so bad I was home, mind you. And thank God for people who love and care for you. That's why I always advise people in this life, just try to see if you could get somebody to love you. Wow. Because you don't know when you're going to need that help. And luckily, good old high school friend of mine's, after hearing what my condition was, said, man, listen, we got to try to get him out of there and get him to the South Beach Clinic. And when I got there, my pressure was like 210 over something.
Jesus.
The doctor said, hey, find a room quickly.
Wow.
We definitely can't let
him get out of here.
Nope. That's when I discovered I had high blood pressure. Didn't even know I had high blood pressure.
Yeah, I think you got it from the COVID.
Had to be. But high blood pressure is one of those things that's silent if you don't know and try to figure it out.
You are among at least a fistful of people I know who have, for the very first time in their very healthy lives, detected hypertensive issues.
Yeah, because
pulmonary issues, and it was immediately after COVID. They had no other change in their diet. They still working out, blah, blah. The only thing happened, 1 week, the pressure and everything was perfect. They had COVID the next week, and bam, every other week of their life since that, they got to take medication. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just one of those things. It lasted for days.
I had a cough that was so bad, it relocated my throat. Yeah. The doctor didn't tell me that, but I can tell you what I feel. Like at one point, every time I cough, I had to hold my throat to cough because every time I cough, it felt like my esophagus would come straight out of me.
Well, you can imagine having a cough for 6 weeks?
Yes.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. So again, do I disagree with Donald Trump? Not entirely. Do I think some of it is a hoax? Yes, I do. Here is where he and I differ, though. I don't think that it is enough of a hoax to not at least put some effort into trying to water.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Right?
I agree with that.
Like it's like the Chickchani. I know it's a lie, but doesn't mean when I go in the bush, I don't keep my eye out just in case a Chickchani pop up. Right? Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So again, I think we've got another whole month left to go before the end of the season.
Hopefully, this is the last worst one. Hopefully.
Well, here is why I like hurricanes, because it's kind of like your mom used to beat when you were small.
No, my mother never punished us.
Oh boy.
The old man was the one who did all the beating.
He's the enforcer.
Yeah.
So I come up in a family full of beaten women, right? And my granddaddy would row a lot, never really beat. And my granddaddy's beating would be like 2 blow, pop, pop, that's it. But if the old lady gotta beat you, my brother, just like a beating concert.
Wow.
Right?
It don't stop?
No, and because it's so much children, like, she ain't got time to sift through who all do what.
Well, just that one pass at a time, and you're throwing a little blow, and next one pass.
When she come out this room, it like a hurricane on a three-headed horse.
So you're trying to beat everybody together? You may miss somebody.
This is a concert, right? And so the thing with that is, once she was done with that though, it was almost nothing you could do in the yard for the rest of the day that would be wrong, because like that beating. Now that I think about it, she would have been about 60 at that time, right? But that beating would obviously exhaust her so much that you almost were sure there would not be another one of these for the year. And that's kind of why I don't mind the hurricanes coming, even if they make very small landfall or whatever. Because I think what they do in the environment around them is they kind of build this barrier that prevents, and this isn't scientific, I'm just telling you what I've anecdotally recognized. that somehow once hurricanes have had their way, I haven't detected where other hurricanes have swiftly or very, very quickly come behind another hurricane. And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate it. It gets cooler, the weather gets nicer. No? You haven't found that?
The weather gets cooler, but you can't think about that if you experience a lot of damage and terror from hurricanes. So that's the last thing in your mind, basically. After the hurricane had passed through in 2016, we did notice weather change, but the damage was just...
Well, the damage is the damage.
Crazy.
And I tell people, Bradley, here is where I am with hurricanes. Build a house. You know, humans are among some of the only animals I know that...
Humans are animals?
Well, are you a plant?
Well, humans are not animals, eh?
Well, Lord, and I tend to...
What are we?
Well, are you a plant?
No.
There are only 3 sets of living things on the planet.
That's what man say. Man say humans are animals. We're not the same.
What is the difference between you and Brownie?
What you mean? You think Brownie could make car?
If Brownie had the tools,
You think Brownie ought to put on a suit?
Man, I see dog in suit all the time.
Yeah, but somebody put it on him though.
But he ain't take it off.
Yeah. Yeah, man is not animal.
So what is man?
Man is not in the same kingdom as animal kingdom. We're different.
What?
We're more sophisticated, more intelligent.
We have emotional intelligence.
Oh, we got more.
So animals have EQ and IQ. The only difference between you and Brownie is you possess EQ.
Well, I
and
see a
Brownie
dog
does
fly
not.
a plane.
I guarantee you that if you train Brownie long enough, Brownie could fly the plane.
Really? It's never happened though.
Whoever trained him.
I'm sure they thought about it.
But I mean, they do it. I'm just saying. So outside of your emotional intelligence, you and Brownie are one and the same.
Oh, really?
Y'all have the same physiological needs.
Oh, yeah?
Y'all have
You think Brownie got a soul?
I think that's where the argument splits because Brownie has no emotional intelligence, the answer to that will appear to be no.
Yeah, man, it's not the same.
But your soul is attached to your emotional intelligence, your knowledge of right and wrong. That's your EQ.
The innermost part of the person.
Yeah, that's
the
your
thinking,
EQ.
the emotions, everything, the spirit. Yeah, man and animal is different, man.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
but
it is what it is.
I don't know. But like I said, I mean, what was I saying? Because I forget what you made me
No, we're talking about hurricanes and what they've been doing over the past.
My advice to
century.
people, because I think that humans are the only set of animals I know who just build a shelter and then leave it, right? Most animals, whatever they build as their shelter, that's their shelter. The bear, the fish, whatever rock this crab crawl in, that's his shelter. When the storm come, he ain't moving, this is his shelter. But humans, we build our shelter and then leave it.
Okay.
You want to find that to be the case?
Because there are times when our shelter cannot withstand nature.
And all I'm saying,
so you got to move. You move
all
on.
I'm saying to you is, well, I know my shelter stronger than a soldier grab shell, but I'm saying to you, since we have accepted that the shelters that humans build are no match for nature, the honest thing you could do, Bradley, is insure this whole building and buy yourself a plane ticket in the opposite direction of this storm.
And go.
And you leave this whole building right here. Don't batten it up. Don't do nothing to it. Because if it blow away, if the building go blow away, why you go batten it up?
No, that's true.
Yeah, if the building blind, if they tell you a category 5 coming in your direction, what you putting plywood on the window for? Just let it blow away. And when you finish, you come and you tell the insurance people, hey, you see the spot I standing on? One house used to be here. I need you all to put the house back. And then you just wait on them to build it back, Bradley.
Indeed.
Yeah, and so I want us to stop sweating up ourselves. I no longer fret myself for those things. The insurance, I don't care if the insurance is $10,000 a year. Let's just insure the house. That way, when they tell me, Levin, the hurricane is Cat 5, I say, okay, Cat 5. Only question I have after that, Bradley, is what direction it coming from. It coming out the southwest. Perfect. You know where I going? Northwest.
Yeah. Away from it.
Yeah. Where it coming from, out of the southeast, no problem. I going northeast. Because I want to ensure that because I is the one thing I can't build back, you know. I will make sure I take my me out of the way of the store.
Then you can come back and build whatever.
I can come back and build whatever, break up.
Yeah.
Get yourself some decent insurance.
Makes sense, yeah.
Try your best. Pool your resources if you have to, you and your friends. You and 10 of your friends, you all start one company and put all your house in the company. And that way you all can insure these 10 houses as a company asset and you all can get a discount rather than trying to insure these houses one by one. You with me?
Indeed.
This is what white people is doing.
Absolutely.
Ah, boy. Anyway, so Bradley, it's Friday. We have to tell them like we do often. It is Friday.
Be careful.
People, go out there and have yourselves a jolly. Do all of the things you like. Go into your watering hole spaces. Be hooligans. Don't forget the boys got paid, and therefore the girls are outside, and they are looking pretty, Bradley. Saunter, sachet, wet up the bar with a good time. Soak yourself in delight. Bathe yourselves in carnal behavior. Because, after all, you only get to live once, and after that, you'll be dead. And since we don't know what happens, well, those of us who believe knows what happens.
Judgment
but you don't get to live no more once you're dead.
Judgment is coming.
Live while you're living. But in all of your doing this weekend, I've got some advice for them, Bradley. Make sure you don't kill nobody. More important than that, make sure nobody don't kill you. Bradley, I got one more. More important than that, make sure you don't kill you.
Right.
And if you get those 3 things right, we'll see you right back here again on Monday.
If it's the Lord's will, we'll be back.
The Verizon Media Group, home of ILTV, Paramount Systems Limited.